This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
Hello, I'm Justin Witz, co-founder and CEO of Catapult. Catapult is a blockchain SaaS product that automates and basically redefines the process for a request for proposal. Catapult's process automates the procurement departments, and if you don't have a procurement department, the individuals themselves, as they go through and create and respond to RFPs. The biggest problem right now in our market today is that it is a manual process. A lot of time and cost goes into building out and responding to RFPs. So the other pain points is version control. You have someone who's responding to an RFP. They disseminate that project to a team to help answer the questions that have been sent in, and then they aggregate those answers into one single document and literally validate that those questions are the most, or the answers are the most current that need to be used to be submitted off, along with aggregating all the supporting documents for those questions. From a sender side, someone who is creating a request for proposal, it's getting all the stakeholders together. And if you've ever gone through that, that is a hair-pulling experience. You have to get compliance, legal, your IT team, everyone on board to help build out that questionnaire. And in the financial services industry, that is a very difficult task to do, to get everyone on board. So Catapult, the way we do this is we kind of help bring that through an all-in-one web-based solution that allows you to use machine learning. So when you leverage machine learning, you can take in all the questions that you've been asked for in the past and help automate those answers moving forward. So the first answers you supply on the very first project get applied forward on every future project that comes in. So you're just validating that those are the correct answers. You have team collaboration tools where your entire team can have access to help answer those questions as well. And along with that, you've got everything wrapped around a blockchain documented process. So you have everything that's readily available in the cloud that is secure, especially for compliance, HR, the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, the DOL. Is that 2 minutes already? Oh, sweet. Holy crap, that was fast.
All right, panelists, what do you think?
You gave us a great, couple of minutes on what the product is, Justin, so great. But you didn't get to the other part, right?
No.
So why don't you, if you could, maybe start with just 30 seconds on the business model and where you are. Are you at revenue or?
Yeah, so right now we've just raised 20 grand from Houston FinTech. We have 125 grand we got from IBM for their Blue Mix platform. We are in beta development launches towards the end of this month. We have 16 Fortune 500 companies signed up for private beta, from Principal Financial Group all the way down to a Vanguard and Wells Fargo. And I think that covers it.
So it's interesting. You probably have a lot of novices that you're trying to go down the blockchain and where it is. There's a lot of people maybe that are in corporate life that are much more excited about that, like me. I really like, help connect me. You said you had some betas already signed up, right? I think you need to be able to describe what the drivers are and why the interest and what the market is. How many of those are out there? Why don't you give us a minute on that?
So Principal Financial Group is a great example. They spend several $1 million a year going through a request for proposal process and thousands of hours throughout their entire team. So they're looking at us to kind of help automate and obviously reduce the cost to make it something more cost effective, but implement tracking and documentative standpoints because they are getting sued. There are over 700,000 retirement plans in the financial industry, all of which have to go through an RFP every 3 to 5 years once a new fiduciary rule passes. So right now it's every 5 years, but pretty soon it's going to be every 3 years.
Yeah. Sorry. Can't hear me, Juan?
No, good.
I'll project. Maybe for your research, I'll hand over to this. How many of you have been involved in the last year or actively involved in one side or the other of a request for proposal process? There you go. I'll let my cohorts talk.
I think that was interesting to hear the idea. So when I'm looking at when I'm listening a pitch like this, I'm trying to get a sense for a few things. On the team, unlike John, or maybe Seth, I don't really care about necessarily a great description on your team because it's going to take time, although sometimes that's useful. I get a sense for the team sometimes just by listening to you, just for what kind of person you are, and drive, humor. I mean, those kind of things are important. So I think your personality comes across when you pitch. That's good. So I kind of have a mental check. That's good. Not great. It's good. Mark
Better than that.
It's better than that. I don't know enough about you, but I know that you're not going to get naked in front of us, so that's good. The idea was the thing that you gave us that was interesting, but you kind of left it there. So I know a few things about you, not enough. I don't know enough about this market, about this business, and I don't really have any sense for whether this is going to be a great potential investment for me to even think about. I do know that a lot of people are thinking about RFPs. I know we are many times. Most people are, but I have no clue what kind of business you're thinking of building, who you're planning on, what kind of product this is really. Well, maybe it's because you're running out of time, but just to say that there's a lot that you can do in 2 minutes, and I think sometimes you don't have to cover everything. There's some things that you can do in an implicit way, like the team. But if there's one thing that you're going to pick, you need to make sure that it come across fully. So if in your case, I think the notion of the idea is probably the thing that's going to hook people. So then what I would suggest is that you talk a little bit more about that and about why is it that your product or your idea is unique, what the market is like, what people are doing today. You did talk a little bit about that, but what the competition is like. And what is it that I'm going to be able to do with your product that I will never be able to do with any other product or in the way in which I'm currently doing things. So that's all. That's just can you give us a little better sense for the current market for RFP automation products? It sounded to me like it was a template. If I had a template, maybe in Excel, I might be able to do some of the same things, but tell me a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, right now, you said Excel, so the majority of tools that people are using is Microsoft Office Suite to go through and build out your request for proposals and aggregate conversions. The competition landscape is pretty weak. There's only one web-based platform. There's 3 web-based platforms, but they only handle one side of the ledger. So they're handling the respondent side. They're not handling the sender side. So you're getting that one side of the effect, but it's not automated in the sense that you have machine learning built in. So you are literally, I just did one for Vanguard. So if anyone's from Vanguard, just ignore your ears right now because I'm not supposed to share this. But it was a 400 question RFP that I did through Excel. Once you wrote all your answers out into Excel, you had to then go to a competitive site, upload your answers in there, which was all limited to 200 characters. So questions that said, describe your team. I can talk about my team in a couple paragraphs. I had to limit to 200 characters, 40 characters more than a tweet for anyone that's familiar with Twitter. And no ability to add attachments or supporting documents as well to support that landscape. So it's very clunky and archaic in that process. And it doesn't give you a lot of confidence that you've delivered yourself as an expert and someone who's superior in what you're doing. So you look like a novice throughout the whole process. And that's pretty much the landscape that's out there right now for competition, is they're all similar to that. But our market is vast. It's $25 trillion is in the retirement industry, of which there's over 700,000 plus retirement plans that all have to go through an RFP process.
So I would guess that when you start as a company, anybody can most people, many businesses have to go through RFP processes. But when you start as a company, you may have to pick a niche or a segment of the market to tackle. What would that be for you? What's the first market that makes sense to you?
Like an industry market or just a market for a product?
Yeah, first group of customers, set of customers.
So financial services.
Why in particular financial services?
Yeah, so I think it caters to my background. So for the past 7 years, I've been working with a software company. We build customized solutions for the financial service industry. So companies like Principal, like Vanguard, like T. Rowe Price, Tia Crep, they're all clients of mine. So I understand their pain points because we do RFPs together collectively. We're also connected with over 300,000 financial advisors, of which 10,000 use our products. And we actually have an RFP solution already that's kind of getting pushed away, and Catapult's going to replace that. So for us, we already have a name in this industry with over 35 years of experience, over $120 billion of of doing RFP experience as well. And so for us, it's just an easy win for us to tackle this market.
So some of that probably would have been good to have in your 2 minutes. Yeah, I think to Lister and Seth's point, and to focus in a little more specifically on, you're at least targeting the problem that exists in the financial services and more specifically the retirement plan space. And then give us a better size for what that, don't tell me it's $25 trillion because that's an irrelevant number, quite frankly. Tell me what they spend, responding to or, RFPs on either side, because that's your market, right? You threw out their blockchain and you threw out their machine learning, and you had one man's opinion, but I would caution you a little bit, because to me in that 2-minute pitch, it frankly seemed a little jargony.
Okay.
It's not clear to me why blockchain, quite frankly, matters to the solution you're building, and it can turn people off potentially if you're kind of using buzzwords, and sometimes that's the right buzzword and it's meaningful for you, and I'll let you tell me in a minute why. And then machine learning, again, same risk there. I would just caution you that you want to make sure you have a substantial answer behind that if you're going to throw that type of acronym out, because otherwise it runs the risk of coming across as jargon. And as I hear your application, quite frankly, it's not, to me, coming across as an ideal application of machine learning. But I'll let you respond.
Yeah, that 2 minutes, by the way, felt like 20 seconds. So I don't know if you guys. I tried to speak as quick as I could, and I prepared my thing last night. So with machine learning, the biggest benefit there is obviously time savings. So I think that the only way to automate someone's responses is by creating an algorithm that literally can look at the past questions and answers you have to call those forward, instead of literally going back to past projects you've responded to, gathering those documents that you've kind of stored away and answers and pulling those forward. That's just a manual process that we wanted to just do away with. So that's where the machine learning comes in. The tech specs of that I can obviously dive into. I'm not going to right now, but I definitely can. As for blockchain, the reason for blockchain is the level of scrutiny that the financial services industry is going through right now. Everyone is all about encryption and understanding that their data is secure. And blockchain is obviously the most secure platform that's out there if you can build into it appropriately. And so the part of the team that I have is the guy's name is Kyle, and he's what I would consider a unicorn developer. And he built our entire blockchain platform out, which is what enticed IBM to do the grant with us. So that is just, again, a level of security for SEC, FINRA, and compliance to know that all their documents, all their answers, all their questionnaire, all their pertinent information that is specific to them is also secure in one cloud environment that they can pull down at any time.
So how do you get the 6 customers that you have currently, the beta testers that are?
How did I get them?
16 or 6?
16.
Okay, I got the number wrong. How do you end up signing them up?
Principal, they're a client of mine already, so I called them up. I've done several RFPs with them, and I told them I was creating a new solution. I showed them wireframes and mock-ups, and that worked through the process. I lost a bid to one company out in Oregon. I called them up, and I said, I know I lost. I'm not here to try to fight to win the case, but I would love to build something for you guys, and so I got them.
I was asking because I wonder whether there's a story there in your pitch that you can extract. With beta customers in particular, sometimes there are stories hidden in terms of the need. Because, sometimes an investor is also thinking many times, am I looking at a vitamin? Is this a painkiller? And when you're talking to beta customers, you can tell the difference depending on how they came to you.
Right.
Sometimes. So if the need is really deep and painful, that's something that you want to, come across and convey in a pitch. And maybe there's stories about your 16 beta customers that can tell maybe these guys are struggling with this process. They're spending tons of money, sometimes using a use case. You have 16, that's a lot. So there may be a story where you can tell, this is how much of a difference we've been able to make with one of our customers. And again, conveying the sense of pain, cost, time savings, what it is that you're able to do and you've done already maybe. And that is almost as valuable as look how much money I'm making and how fast I'm growing. So that's just a thought.
Thank you. No, that's great. Thank you.
I don't know if there's any more questions from us or the
2
audience.
minutes. Who's got one? Yes, sir, Rob.
So if I do a quick Capterra search, there's a lot of RFP software out there.
Mhm.
I think your differentiators are the blockchain ties as well as machine learning. So I think to John's point, I want to understand more about the machine learning. Is this your own technology or are you licensing some type of machine learning technology? I think that play is pretty unique here.
Mhm.
If you can further explain that in more than a 2-minute pitch.
Right. We just answered quickly. It is our technology. We custom wrote all the code ourselves.
Okay, that's good.
More. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to ask, what's the biggest challenge for you right now in terms of growing your business?
Biggest challenge, I would say, is capital. Just capital to build out the fully fledged product in a version 1 standpoint.
You didn't say how much money you needed.
225 grand.
What's your pricing model?
Pricing model is subscription based. We have 4 different tiers. One's free. Basic is $5,450. Pro is $10,800, and then enterprise can be anywhere from 25 grand and up, depending on the customization they want.
Are you live yet?
No, we go live at the end of the month.
Okay, I'll sign up.
I'll give you a business card, or you just Google the name.
That's
Yes,
why
ma'am.
if you,
Just out of curiosity, because of this very complicated RFP process, how much money is left on the table, like where users actually lose out on the ability to bid on jobs because they have not completed everything in that span of time? Is that an issue?
It's definitely an issue. I don't know if I'll answer the question directly with how you're asking it. So right now we have a client in Charlotte. They spend around 100 plus hours every RFP. They do about 5 a year, and they have only won 1 out of the past 2 years. So to me, that's a lot of loss, sunken cost, and that's not uncommon. Most companies will win less than 10% of the RFPs they bid on.
Yeah, just where they actually like miss being able to even be considered for it because they haven't gotten their stuff together, right? 'Cause
Oh,
this is-
okay, so like the
this is
ratio of
not going to
completion.
only- The way I understand it, it's not only going to make it, like a better process, but it'll make it faster, more comprehensive, allow you to respond to more.
So there was a survey that was done last year, and 60% of RFPs are not completed on time. And then obviously you can still submit afterwards, but sometimes it's a red flag that you're not equipped to handle the job at hand.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.